Hello and welcome to the Crispy Fish, Omega-3 for your brain. Today we'll be talking about a command that's quite close to my heart. I've been using it throughout my career and it's really handy when it comes to manipulating and filtering text. This is part 1. Today we go forward with awk. Things could get awkward. Awk is built on this premise. You have a pattern and an action. The pattern will match lines and then we do something. If we leave out that pattern, we do that action to every single line. For instance, here we print every line. If we leave out the action, the default action we will use is to print every single line. So here I'll just give it the pattern I'm looking for, com. In our email list, and I get every user that ends with .com. You can use this against text you get from standard in or from text files. The logic you implement is very useful for transforming and filtering data. Here you'll see I've left out the last part of the command. I haven't given it a file, so I'm just getting all my input from standard in. And you can see it's just copying me and spitting out what I'm typing in the terminal. This is an example of how you get text from standard in. So that's not the only place you can get it from. We can also get this from a command. So for instance, I'll use ls here and I'll just spit out the same output that we've got from that command. So far, we are just repeating what's in these files like a parrot. We are squawking. But awk has some other powers. It is, after all, more than just a tool. It's an entire programming language. You can use Regex to filter through this text. If that is completely new to you or you need a refresher, click the link in the right hand corner. For example, I have this whole Romeo and Juliet play in this text file. Let's see how many times we see the word thou. Now, you'll see we're also matching the word though here. So let's add to our pattern here and maybe just put a little space on so that we only get the word thou. Wow, they really liked this word. So how can awk actually help you in your daily life? Now let's say we have this command here. Now if you want to do anything with these containers, we need their ID or name. Both are displayed here. Awk will read each line in, separated by a new line, as a record, and by default every one of these separated by a space is a field. Awk uses some special numbers to sort of label these fields, like 0, $0, that will print out the entire line. So you can also use $1 and onwards to print out different fields. This is, for instance, $1, the first field, the ID. That first line is going to mess with any script we write. Let's use awk thinking and pair this up with some regex. Let's just tell awk only to use something with lowercase letters. So we'll add our pattern here, and then we'll go ahead and say just give us the first field from that. That's a lot better. So what? You can go from taking a walk through the system to running with some scripting magic now that we have all of these in a list. So for instance, let's go ahead and stop all these containers. There we go, they're all stopped. Now we know we can print one field, but we can also do multiple fields depending on what we need. So let's go ahead here and let's try and print out a few fields. We're going to go ahead and use our same pattern here, and then we're going to go and add some more fields. We knew we had $1 for the first field, so let's add $2 and $3 and $4 and $5 and $6, and we'll just go all the way to the end here, and you'll see at the end of our outputs we get all of these fields here. So what if we wanted this name at the very end here? We could keep printing out fields until we found the number. So we could keep printing out fields until we found the field we were looking for. So we could just keep going here and adding, and this could be getting quite long because we have to add loads and loads of fields. See, I'm going past 10 here, and you can see this is kind of getting monotonous here. There we go, we're going to print it, and you'll see that I have the last field here, but I don't really have the last field of any of the others. So no, we just want the last field. This is where built-in variables come to save the day. NF, or number of fields, contains, like you guessed it, the number of fields in every single record. So if I go ahead and run this command here, you'll see all of them have a different number of fields. So I can go ahead and add a $sign or a sigil to the beginning of this, and bada boom bada bing, we get the name of every container. That's pretty handy. But what about if we wanted to see how many containers are here? Well, we could use NR, or number of records, to print the record number, and use $0 to print the whole line. Wait, that's not right. Because we have the first record in our original output, this starts at 2. Awk is a programming language, and we can fix this with some arithmetic. Let's wrap our little equation in brackets here so Awk knows to calculate that and then add it to the result, and boom! It worked. Great, now we have a tool to solve all of our outputting problems. If every file we ever deal with has fields separated by spaces and records separated by new lines, no, that's not true. It can do those too. We just need to change the field separator. For instance, let's try and get some users out of the etc password file. This file has a bunch of users separated by a colon. And there you have it, the first field has all the usernames. So all we need to do is tell Awk, by using -f here, that our file here is actually separated by colons for the different fields. And we can go ahead and print the first field. You can do the same thing in Awk itself by adding the fs keyword, or field separator keyword. We'll use another keyword, begin, which tells Awk to do this action once before we do anything else. So you'll see here, we wrap this up in our curly braces, and we tell Awk, go ahead and make the field separator a colon, and we'll print out the first line the same way we did before. And bada boom bada bing, we get the same result. Now we can change field separators, but we can also do things like change record separators. So let's incite a bit of chaos in our world. We'll use tr to go ahead and replace all the new lines with tabs. And once we've done this, you'll see our output looks to be a bit of a mess. Now, Awk is going to struggle to read this ugly mess. It thinks it's all one line. Because we are stubborn, let's not accept that and specify a record separator. So we can go ahead and use the same process we used before, where we go ahead and add the begin keyword, and that's going to say go ahead and do this before you do anything else. And we're going to go ahead and say make our record separator a tab instead. We just fixed the mess we created in the first place. That's called job security. So what we'll do is we'll use another trick we learned before, and we'll use our little arithmetic here, and we'll go ahead and make our line numbers match as well. Another pretty handy built-in variable is our ignore case variable. So if it is not null, you can match uppercase or lowercase letters with the same pattern. So if we go ahead and do a little program here where we put our pattern for bananas, and then we're going to do an action to it, we can print out bananas as the secret password when we match bananas. But the uppercase letter I just used there is not matching. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add the begin statement like we used to now to the beginning of our statement here in Awk, and we're going to go ahead and tell Awk to ignore the case. And once we do that, if we go ahead and try the same thing, you'll see that if I go ahead and type bananas, it says the secret password. If I go ahead and type that in all caps and I'm shouting, it still thinks it's the password. And if I go ahead and did our previous example, it would also still think that is the password. Another handy built-in is output record separator and output field separator. The same way we could tell awk what our record separator was and our field separator was, we can also tell it that when you go ahead and print, you can use these record separators between every single field or record. For instance, there's our output record separator and our output field separator. And you can see our output record separator is a dashed line, and our output field separator is a solid line. And you can see it's printed this out right here. There's our output field separator here between every single field, and what we specified here for our output record separator is here between every single record. And then we can make our output look a bit more how we want it to look. Thank you for joining me on this awkward adventure. That's the end of part 1. Now go and take what you've learned and apply that. If you found value out of this, show your love by liking and subscribing. If you had a weird and wonderful way that you've used awk in the past, go ahead and share that in the comments, or if you just have something to say in general. If you're looking for your next video, you'll find that over here. Was it here? No, it's over here. No, it's over here.